get the answer when the answer comes. It might be news on your television, or it might be God trying to get your attention. It might be God trying to get your attention. Oh yeah. Listen to the birds, listen to the trees, listen to the river, listen to the seas, listen to the mountain, listen to the land, listen to the woman, listen to the man, listen to the rain, listen to the wind, listen to your mind, and listen all over again.
So, has God been trying to get your attention lately? This is the book series we're doing. It's called E Square. And this is what this whole book is about. It's listening. It's listening to the message we get from all the different areas. You know, I can get a message when I'm listening to the news. I can get a message when I'm looking at a tree, if I'm tuned in. So for the past 4 weeks, we've been working on this book. And it's all about learning how to listen, learning how to connect, and learning how to draw from that invisible energy field, that field of unlimited possibilities that we call God. So last week, we had our in-house magician come up. Our talk was abracadabra. And I can't tell you how many how many of you came to me this week and said, what does abracadabra mean again? So we've got it up there. Abracadabra means I create as I speak. I create as I speak. And so you were invited to abracadabra something this week, to create, to manifest something. Does anyone have a real awesome manifestation story they want to share? Okay. If you have one, you want to tell me about it later, I'd love to hear it. So today's talk is inner guidance, or the Dear Abby principle. Because when we're struggling, we're in a dilemma, or we have a decision to make, sometimes don't you wish you had a Dear Abby you could just call and ask? Or maybe you just kind of want to walk along and have the clouds part and a booming voice come out and tell you what to do. Wouldn't that be great? Our inner guidance is that readily available when I learn to listen. Not with the ears, but within. And when I do, I receive accurate, unlimited guidance. But since we're in this wonderful human form, instead of turning within to that guidance, we turn to what the Buddhists call our monkey mind. Have you heard that term, monkey mind? Why? Because it's squirrely. It's all over the place all the time. And it's prone to misjudgments, faulty interpretations, and major fabrications. Have you had those parties going on in your head? I have. And it's where most of us go for our guidance. It's our left brain. It's the part of us that does the reasoning and the logic. But our left brain is only designed to do two things. It's designed to identify problems and formulate goals and then step back. If you get into the book, she goes into the brain just a little bit more. So, we go to our brain to solve our problems. And what our brain can do is identify it as a problem and formulate a goal. And then it's supposed to step back. But what do? We jump in, don't we? In the throes of indecision, I believe the best way for me to decide is through thinking about it and talking about it and thinking about it and talking about it and going over it and over it and over. Have you done that? Have you done that with your problem? Over and over and over in my head. The conscious mind, that's what we're talking about, only processes 7 bits of information per second. This brain we're talking about, 7 bits of information per second. The unconscious mind processes 11 million bits of information a second. 7 bits or 11 million bits? Where should I go for guidance? Which is the wiser place to turn? So instead of allowing my conscious mind to be in charge, because all it's going to do is weigh the pros and cons, right? All it's going to do is try to reach a rational, logical decision, right? And no sooner does it define a problem. You've been there, I've been there. Then it begins to yammer about it. And it yammers and yammers and yammers about how big the problem is. About, I can't solve this anytime too soon, right? So I decide to heal a relationship. It's been a long time. I think I want to forgive somebody. And instead of turning to the inner guidance, I go up here to my conscious mind, my brain. And I try to rationally figure out how to do it. Now, do you see yourself in this? And then I start thinking about it, and thinking about it, and thinking about it, and I start interpreting it. And then I go, well, they started it. It's really their fault. I'm the victim. Why should I forgive them? They should make the first move. Have you watched yourself go through one of those? It's so easy to do. Our logic brain judges, it distorts, it causes unnecessary emotional distress. So this is the Prosperity Plus manual you're going to be using. And here's what she says in here. Because of the way we are all conditioned, and this is all the input we've had since we've been a child, our minds are going to argue with us. Tell us reasons why we cannot do something or why something is just not possible. Have you had that go on in your head when you're trying to make a decision? Everybody except Bud and Gert, they just jump in. They go to Colorado for vacation and come back and say, we're moving to Colorado. We bought a house. We're selling ours, you know. So maybe we could go to them for decision making. But our inner guidance is reliable, it's immediate, and it is directly available 24/7. And its answers are peaceful and responsive rather than reactive, because our brain reacts. Its answers are peaceful and responsive to all the unpredictable factors conscious mind can't begin to understand. Because when I am logically trying to figure something out and something hits me, blindsides me, I go into a tailspin. But that doesn't happen when I drop into inner consciousness. Charles Fillmore, who's the co-founder of Unity, when he first saw Myrtle, who became his wife, when he first saw her, he said, something within him said, there's your wife, Charles. And if he hadn't listened to that, we wouldn't be here today. There would be no Unity Church today. It was the two of them coming together that created and manifested this movement. So have you ever had that? What we call a gut feeling, a hunch, a premonition? How often do you listen to it? Or you just pass it off? Where does it come from? Where does our inner guidance come from? This is the voice of Jesus booming down? Or a spiritual guru? Or a dead ancestor trying to give us a message? Where does it come from? It comes from our deepest, truest, most divine part. It is the doorway to vast wisdom. Everything man has ever discovered has already been there. But someone became quiet enough and expanded themselves enough to allow themselves to connect to it. All the wisdom, all the knowing I ever want is readily available. All I have to do is quiet my monkey mind. Mozart remarked of his compositions, when and how they come, I do not know. and I have nothing to do with it. When and how they come, I do not know, and I have nothing to do with it. When I get out of my way, when I get out of that logical brain and trust who and what I really am, an energy being, a spiritual being, I get away, I get out of this box. I unlock something, and all this information is there. I'm sitting in it. It's pouring in me. So it comes in different ways for each of us, doesn't it? Some of us might hear a little voice. For some of us, it might be a knowing or an understanding. Maybe a sense of clarity, or all of a sudden a feeling of inspiration. Some of us might get a distinct message, or an aha. We call those aha moments. And sometimes in dreams, often if I have, and Prosperity Plus talks about this too, if I have a decision to make, when I go to bed, I will just ask the question and let it go. And I will usually get the information in a dream form. And Mary has some wonderful stories in there about that. I think it's in there, isn't it? Or am I thinking of another book? I think it's in there. Yeah, there's some great stories in there. Whenever I walk away from here, I lose my place. So all we have to do to connect to this inner guidance is to trust it. To trust it's there, just as much as you are all sitting in these seats, and to use it. Because the more I use it, the more available it is. And it becomes my go-to decision maker. I don't make any decisions from my head anymore. When I moved into this area and had to find a place to live near the church, Karen was taking me, she was a real estate, and she was taking me to different places, and I would just walk in. And I didn't even have to see the place. I would know whether it was where I wanted to live or not. I could feel it. I didn't have to ask all these intelligent questions about it. I just would know. Much easier way to live life, and it's always dead on. It's accessible to everyone. You don't have to be a guru sitting on a mountaintop. You don't have to be an enlightened master. You don't have to be some spiritual person that meditates every day. Michael Beckwith. How many of you have heard of Michael Beckwith? Some of you have. When he was in his 20s, he was arrested for dealing and possession. They found him with 100 pounds of pot, large sums of cash, and guns and other hot items. But a voice inside him said, everything is going to be okay. So when he went to trial, he was very peaceful, because he believed that no matter what happened, he'd be okay. And you know what? He was. Because his attorney, who was just starting out, happened to be Robert Shapiro before O.J. days. And he got him off on a technicality. Now, there's no way his logical mind could have ever figured that out. Today, Dr. Michael Beckwith is a New Thought minister, and he's the founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, a church of 9,000 in Culver City, California. He has served with Gandhi, the Dalai Lama. He's written award-winning books. He's appeared on Oprah, Dr. Oz, Larry King, and many others. And his church has outreach programs that provide for the homeless, the hungry, schools, libraries, orphanages, hospitals, natural disaster areas, and they're located in 8 different African countries. This field of infinite possibilities, what we call God, is available to all of us. And it can come in any way we are open to receive it. That was what's so great about that song. It gave you all the different ways. When I listen, it comes in so many different ways when I listen. And I not only help myself, but I help others, and like Michael, the world. Quantum physics tells us we live in the midst of a network of subatomic energy fields. And because the atoms we are made of are 99.999% empty space, you think you're solid, right? These energy fields are also within us. You know, we've done a lot of exercises in class where we rub our hands and then we feel the energy. How many of you have actually felt energy? Quite a few of you. And the quieter I become, the more I focus. It's everywhere. Remember, you can get on your cell phone right now and you can connect to anybody in the world, right? And you accept that. We accept it. Then why is it so hard for me to get that energy is inside of me? Because when I do, that's when miracles happen. That's why Jesus was able to perform so many miracles, because he knew this. He didn't just talk it, he lived it. Acts 17:28 says, "For in him we live and move and have our being." Did they know what they were talking about? You bet they did. That energy within us, it lives and moves and it has our being. But because we are so much in the habit of automatically doubting it or contradicting it. Have you contradicted yourself on hunches? You bet. We miss hearing it. Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady is one of our foundational books in Unity. Each of us must sooner or later learn to stand alone with our God. I can only hear my inner guidance if I stand alone without all the busy noise outside of me. Nothing else matters. Truth is always speaking to us. It's ever present, and it's guiding us with a perfect intelligence. The trick is, can I recognize it with the din of voices going on in my head? So, how do I tell the difference? How do I tell if it's my monkey mind, it's my conscious mind, if it's my ego, or if it's my inner guidance? Dan, are you ready? So if I'm coming from my conscious mind, if I'm coming from ego, it's going to tell me what I should do and what I should not do. So if you're trying to make a decision, is there a voice in there telling you you should do it this way, you shouldn't do it this way? Then it's not your inner guidance. It justifies actions. I'll have doubts, I'll have opinions, and I will rely on my logic. That's how I know I'm in ego, I'm in conscious mind. I'm propelled out of fear, or a neediness, or it's emotional. Again, that's not inner guidance. And the big one is, I will feel a loss of energy power. I'll feel a loss of energy. I'll feel a loss of power. A sense of spiritual deadness, because when I'm trying to make a decision from my brain, from my conscious mind, I'm totally disconnected from spirit. Now, we can learn how to do both. But first I have to become very used to going within. And then within tells me how to move out here, not the other way around. Again, in Prosperity Plus, Mary writes, "It is not necessary to chase away bad thoughts or feelings. You just have to switch the frequency to allow better thoughts and feelings in. Just change the channel." Ego is either, this is so easy. Ego is either, look how great I am, or look how bad I am. If you got either one of those going on, you know you're in your conscious mind. So let's look at inner guidance. Dan, do you have those? When it's inner guidance, I have a sense of clarity. It's very clear. And knowing. There's a sense of upliftment and excitement with it. Inner guidance always moves us toward love. For ourselves and for others. There's never any fear when I'm in inner guidance. Inner guidance creates a sense of peace. That's what Michael had when he went through the process of jail, looking at jail. A belief that no matter what, I'm okay. So what happened with all this news hype about Erica? And the fear it was pushing out there, right? Did you know you were okay? Yeah. You're all Florida pros, of course you did. But that's the difference. It's that peaceful feeling. No matter what they're saying out here, I know it was 2004 when we had the 4 hurricanes come through? And the first one, I remember everybody headed for Orlando, and they were stuck for 8 hours on the freeway. They couldn't move. And very clearly, I got that I was supposed to stay here. So I went with friends who took the right, did what they were supposed to do with their house. But I got, what if people need help? And sure enough, I had people calling me that wanted to get out of the town that couldn't get there. So I was driving them from there, go to their house and getting them and taking them to a car where they could get out of town because they wanted to. All those hurricanes, I stayed in town. I went with one friend, and we spent the whole time of the hurricane in prayer and meditation. It was awesome. So, connecting to that inner guidance, it will say, leave town or stay. And it's very clear. I don't have to make a decision. And the last thing you know about inner guidance is it always brings joy. It always ends in joy. The more we experience our inner guidance, the more we're going to turn to it before we turn to conscious mind. And so, start to practice when you have a decision to make. To get still, to go within. Let everything empty out of you and just feel. Or ask the question. And then just go about your day. Look, that's what this book is about. Go about your day looking. The first time was look for blessings, right? Manifestations. It's bringing us down that path of how to listen to our inner guidance. And once I have it, then I have this physical body to walk through it, to walk through whatever I'm guided to do. So this week, you are going to make up your mind to no longer make up your mind. You are going to make up your mind to no longer make up your mind. So you're going to ask a specific question. Something you're undecided or confused about that has a yes or no answer. So you're going to ask a question that has a yes or no answer on a decision you want to make. Should I cut my hair? Should I call that friend I've been thinking about? Should I get a pet? Should I look for a totally different kind of job? You know, it could be anything, simple or small. Now, the answer may not always come the way you expect it. So this is where we have to move out of our narrow thinking and open it up, because it can come from anywhere. Now, the author of the book said, she asked the question, is it time to launch my freelance writing career? And she was fired from her current job. So she launched her career. So it can come in any type of a form, know that. Ask for a clear answer to show up in 48 hours, and then step back. Don't engage the conscious mind. Listen for the wisdom of your inner guidance. God bless you.